The Lord has spoken to me about the United States from the very first time that I came to the U.S., in 1991. That was the first year that I came to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
That year, I saw a vision. In the vision, I saw the American flag flying in a backward manner rather than in a straightforward manner. So I was wondering, why is the flag flying in a backwards manner? Then the word of the Lord came unto me. This nation has turned her back on me. So that's the first one. The second, I saw little babies being plucked out from their mother's womb and their heads dashed and killed and thrown out into the streets. I was very surprised because I know nothing about the rate of abortion in America, So that's the second thing I saw. And the third thing that I saw was youths, bodies of youths, young boys, young girls lying on the streets dead, like how raccoons lie dead on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
all over the streets, I was very shocked and surprised. And then the word of the Lord came. The young people will be killed mercilessly and their bodies thrown and strewn in the streets. But over the years, I've seen many visions. One particular vision I saw in the late 90s was missiles being falling all over the U.S. I saw myself running here and there in the North American continent, particularly the U.S., and missiles were dropping everywhere, So I looked up and I cried out, who dares to throw these missiles at the U.S.? And I found myself saying these words, except the Lord God, who else will dare to permit this to happen? So I was very surprised when I saw that. And very recently, the word of the Lord came unto me saying, Russia will attack the U.S. and the nation will be divided into two when she will divide Jerusalem into two. One early morning, as I was drinking my cup of tea and I was just meditating on the scriptures, but suddenly I saw an 8-foot angel stand before me with a drawn sword. And then he said, this is what will happen to the nation that will divide Jerusalem into two. When he spoke that, I saw the map of the United States appear in a 3-dimensional form before the angel. And he just thrust his sword into the very heart of the U.S., like in the center, and a line just split it in the middle and said, so will the nation be divided as Jerusalem will be divided by this nation. So these are the things that I've heard from the Lord about the U.S.
That dream could be interpreted different ways. There could be a physical division, such as a massive earthquake that splits the nation in half, but also it could be a civil war where the country is divided, and it could also be a foreign occupation.
Yes.
But the Lord didn't tell you how it was going to be divided. He just said the nation will be divided if, and that's the key line, if it divides Jerusalem.
Last night we were having a dinner with another prophet of God from Australia called Neville Johnson. He mentioned that he had heard from the Lord about a foreign occupation, particularly by Russia, that will invade and be positioned or stationed in the U.S. and then take over the U.S.
Neville Johnson, who's a prophet from Australia, heard
That's
from the
right.
Lord. He heard from the Lord that there would be a foreign occupation of this country.
Yes.
And it would be by Russia?
Yes. Just a few minutes ago, as you were talking, I saw an angel come and stand before me, and he handed out a note. And in the note, I saw it written, Russia will invade the U.S. It is the will of the Lord that this nation serve the living God, but not mammon. Unfortunately, Many Americans, they are after mammon. And as a result, God has permitted a spirit of lies to come upon these many preachers, even prophets, who are preaching falsehood and prophesying falsehood because they are heaping up treasures for themselves, hoards of wealth for themselves. So these will make the way for the great apostasy to fall away. But at the same time, God has sent His angels in white, even many saints in glory in white, walking all over the US right now, calling forth a people to come out of Babylon. That is the message that is going out these days, to come out of Babylon and be separate.